Yeah, it all goes down March 29th, Glendale, Arizona, Top Rank on ESPN. And how about this? The undisputed minimum weight title in its Seniesa Estrada super bad, welcoming unified champion Yokasta Valle. Seniesa, there's only one question I can start with here. First of all, great to talk with you, one of the pound for pound best in the world. But from the moment this fight was announced, it was on. You were a buck, as the kids would say. You were ready for war. What the heck is going on between you and Valle?
It's a fight that I've been wanting to make for a couple of years now, and I'm just happy that it's finally being made. I mean, it's finally been made. There's been a lot of back and forth of her saying that I'm scared and I've been ducking her, which was absolutely false, not true at all, because there had only been effort from my side to try to make the fight happen. But with that being said, I'm glad that it's happening now because it's such a perfect time in women's boxing for the fight to happen. So much more exposure and attention on women's boxing. So it's going to be a great night.
I mean, you've been one of the top women's boxers in this game for a while, but it's not always easy when you're in the smaller weight classes, male or female, to get that attention. I feel like since you've jumped forces over to Top Rank, that it's not just we're seeing the critical respect for you to continue to grow, but your brand, your name is getting out there. How big of a move would you say that was for your career to go from Golden Boy to where you are now with Bob Arum Top Rank?
Yeah, it's been great. I was very excited and happy when I heard that Top Rank was interested in signing me, because I had seen the progress that they made with Michaela and everything that they put into promoting Michaela throughout the years. And I thought it was awesome. I thought it was great. So when I heard that Top Rank had interest in signing me, I was very, very happy, very grateful, because I knew that the exposure was going to be great for me with the ESPN platform and just everything in general.
All right. Well, when we spin it forward to March 29th and 4 belts on the line, 2 champions coming in, it's already a big enough fight. But then I hear you say, I'm not just fighting Yokasta Valle. I'm fighting her trainer. I'm fighting her promoter, Oscar De La Hoya. I mean, who else are you fighting here, Seniesa? What's the root of the extreme extended beef here to all parties?
I mean, it's no secret that Golden Boy Promotions is my ex promoter. So, yeah, what I meant by that is I'm going in there and it's me against all of them. I'm defeating that whole side, that whole team. So, it's the biggest fight of my career. It's the most serious fight of my career and the most focused that I've ever been for a fight. So, yeah, undisputed. I think about it every single day. So I just can't wait to have those bouts around me.
Well, you've always been a great, I don't know, advocate for your own career and your own talents. Where do you think you rank right now, pound for pound in the world? Like, is that a fair question to ask a fighter? Can you accurately portray that, or is it going to be Seniesa number one, and everybody else following?
I mean, I think if you were to ask me and any other female fighter, we're all going to say we're the number one pound for pound best in the world. Of course, that's how we all should think about ourselves. But of course, being number one pound for pound would be great to have that recognition and to have that the honor of doing so. So I just continue to just focus on winning and doing what I can to stay undefeated, and hopefully with that being said, everyone else can recognize my skills and put me where they want to, which is hopefully number one someday.
Okay, but where do you think you have the edge in the argument? Like, if I was asked, I would say you can fight all styles. I mean, you can pretty much do everything. Would you say that's your calling card when compared to your contemporaries in the game today?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I could fight many different ways, and I think that's what pound for pound means. I mean, that's what pound for pound has always meant. If you put everybody and everybody was the same weight, if you put skills, speed, footwork, defense, how does everybody match up against each other? And I think I am one of the few fighters in women's boxing that can fight many different ways and have different tools that I can use.
Did you pattern your game after anyone, or take little snippets of what you saw growing up watching boxing?
Yes, my favorite fighter growing up was Roy Jones Jr., Sugar Ray Leonard. My dad was a huge fan of Roberto Duran, so also loved watching Roberto Duran. Not only was he a great inside fighter, but nobody really, a lot of people don't give him credit for being a very good defensive fighter while he's fighting on the inside too. So he's incredible. So I still watch to this day. I still watch lots of old school fights.
I can see that in your swagger. I see a little Duran-esque swagger in some of the face-offs.
Yeah, Duran was definitely, oh man, he was an animal. So with that attitude, not just Duran, but like Sugar Ray Leonard and all these guys, like, it's just, I feel like boxing will never be the same again in that way when it comes to fighters with like that kind of heart, that kind of like dog in them, you know?
The intensity, yeah, it is incredible. A lot of intense fanfare ahead of this fight for you, this undisputed championship. How do you match up in your eyes with Yokasta Valle, and what type of fight should we expect March 29th?
You know, with my game plan going into this fight, I am just going to go in there and show, like we just mentioned, all the different things I can do, all the tools that I have. And I think that is going to expose her weaknesses. And I don't think, I mean, I'm not saying she's not a good fighter, but a lot of fighters that she's faced have all the fighters that she faced have all kind of fought the same way, fought her game plan and her style. And I'm not going to do that on March 29th. I'm going to fight the way Superbad fights. I'm going to fight the best way that I can possibly fight with my style and my skills. So, yeah, I don't want to say too much, but it's going to be a night where I think people will, if they don't know, they'll know that our skill levels are very different.
Can we play boxing math in this sense and say she's 30-2? She's a very decorated unified champion, but she has that loss to Tina Ruprecht, who you scored a shutout decision over just a few fights ago. Can you take anything from that same, I guess, common opponent to try to help you prepare for this one?
Yeah, definitely. The fight with Tina is very similar. Tina was a very, very good champion who made all of her fights very difficult because of her style. And I think I was able to just expose that and just break her down mentally to where she was like, geez, I can't do anything. You know, she went back to the corner after the second round, and you could just see in her body language that she knew that I was different. I was somebody that she's never faced before. And little by little, as the rounds went on, it's like she kind of gave up at times. At one point, she backed up and put both her hands down and just looked at me. And that right there was just defeat. You know, mentally she was defeated. And going into this fight, I think it's going to be it's a similar thing, similar when it comes to how I'm going to implement my game plan going into this fight.
Did you take any umbrage? I think she was trying to take a shot at you when she said, this is Yokasta Valle saying, come fight me in my home country of Costa Rica because I fill stadiums, not theaters. I mean, what are we getting at here, Seniesa? What are we doing here?
I mean, that's false as well, because I've been watching her fights for the past 6 years and she's never fought at a stadium. The only stadium there is in Costa Rica is, I believe, the soccer stadium. And I know her promoter, Marv Nation, and he's lost money is what he says. She's never filled stadiums or anything like that. So yeah.
All right, there we go. We're clearing out. We're amending all the potential lies here. What is no lie is a hand injury you've had to get through and recover from. What's the status of that? How do you work with that? Work around it? Where are we at with that?
Yeah. So in my fight last July, I tore a ligament, which chipped off a piece of bone in my right index finger early in the fight. I believe is the second or third round. So that was very disappointing and very tough to have to get through the fight with that injury. I couldn't use my right hand. It was very painful. And I was fighting a counterpuncher who doesn't really come forward. So once I knew that my hand was injured, I thought to myself, okay, something's wrong. This is definitely an injury that's going to require surgery. I knew that right away. I knew it because I never felt anything like it before. So I thought to myself, I can box and move this whole fight and easily win and make this fight extremely boring to where the crowd's booing and it just is just a snooze fest. Or I can just go forward and try to do what I can with one hand. So that's what I did throughout the rest of the fight, and got the victory. So I was just happy to get through that fight, but having to get surgery was very disappointing. There was the torn ligament with a bone chip as well, but then I also found out that I had a bone cyst growing between my index finger and my middle finger that had been there for who knows how long, and also had some other damage as well. So it was just a combination of a bunch of things. So having to get surgery was disappointing because I was supposed to fight one more time before the year ended, and of course that couldn't happen. So yeah, I was pretty pissed about that, but I'm just happy to be back now going into this undisputed fight.
Will it be on your mind, or are you already past it? Would you say you know, I mean, it's there, right? It was there at one point. It's got to be up there.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was able to punch for the first time with my right hand on December 31st, and of course very lightly, as instructed by my doctor, but it was still very scary to start punching on it. And then when I started sparring, you know, put a little bit more force and power when throwing it, and that was scary as well. And the doctor said that he can't guarantee that my hand will ever be 100%, just because of the damage and me going back right into impact. But I've been doing what I can to make sure that my hand feels at 100% going into the fight. Therapy 4 times a week, and icing, heat, just everything I can do to make sure it feels great.
Yeah, many of the greats have had to fight through those same sort of hampers, but you're coming into this big fight with so much at stake. You mentioned the biggest fight of your career. How do you reset your goals, though? If you're victorious March 29th, if you're the undisputed champion in the minimum weight, what would be next for Superbad?
I definitely want to move up to light flyweight or even flyweight as well. I would love to have a rematch with Marlin Esparza. I think fans would love to see a rematch, and I'm not sure what her plans are, but yeah, maybe we can have my team and Top Rank discuss that fight potentially, or see what the next move is. But yeah, as soon as I get out of the ring, I'll already be thinking about what's next.
I was going to bring up Marlin because that was and has been and still is I don't know if that's a disrespectful word for me to call it a saucy rivalry, but fans can get behind sort of two talented fighters that, you know, do not hide their dislike for one another. Is the beef still real there?
I mean, I think so. Yeah, I think it'll always be there. You know, we're just two different people who just can't get along. And yeah, I think having that second fight would be huge for women's boxing, and I hope it's something that we can possibly make happen.
Well, the thing I give a lot of respect for this sort of renaissance era in women's boxing, where we've got so many legit pound for pound #1 contenders doing things in their own divisions, is that a lot of people are willing to move divisions if that means maybe attaining the type of crossover fight that will define their career. Do you ever give any visions to how much realistically you could go up in weight for that same type of idea?
You know, I've thought about it, but I mean, I can't go any higher than any higher than flyweight, because I walk around at flyweight. You know, even when I fought Marlin Esparza, I was walking around at 112 throughout the whole training camp, and I was walking around fight week at the MGM Grand eating pizza and doing what I can to make sure that I don't weigh in I wasn't too low for weigh-in. So I think light flyweight would probably be the highest I can go. And I actually have thought about having a super flyweight fight just once, if it's a matchup that's worth it. So yeah, we'll see.
We'll see what happens. You get this victory March 29th. I'm sure the phone will ring in many directions. Seniesa Estrada, Yokasta Valle, all 4 titles in the minimum weight at stake. Can't wait for this. Top Rank on ESPN in Glendale, Arizona. Seniesa, great chatting with you. It was great to share broadcasting duties with you a few years ago. I wanted to say every chance I get to see you in front of the microphone, you're doing great work as well on that side of it. So best of luck in this one.
Thank you so much.